Welcome to War Thunder with Subdude. How y'all doing today? Well, recently I put up a video where I was commenting and, I'll be honest, complaining about the repair costs of the F-86K. And I also said in that where I probably didn't do myself any favors by flying out the plane in two different battles, dying once, but killing 3 aircraft. Probably didn't do myself the best as far as making my point. And also recently, Gaijin came out, and I think it was BVVD who came up with the explanation as to why some aircraft have repair costs that are, well, frankly, stupid. And basically, the crux of his entire comment was the amount of time you spend in battle versus the amount of money it costs to repair the plane is not proportionate. Therefore, we increase the amount that it costs you to repair the plane because of the amount of time you get to spend in battle. And the equation and the ratio is blah, 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 blah. Who cares? That entire statement was based upon the fallacy that any player can play this plane for any amount of time in game, and it will average out to be a certain number of earned points per time. Makes no sense whatsoever. Oh, but the B-29 flies to space and only gets killed about once every 3 times. Huh? Are you actually buying any of this? I don't. Not one little bit. Again, this is a case where Gaijin is not playing their game. They're using pull them out my butt statistics that don't mean anything. Now, if that F3E or A4E had been paying attention, he would have been popping flares and everything to make me miss. He didn't. He died. Stupid player. There's another A4E over there. Let's go see what's going to happen to him. Again, a better plane than the plane I'm flying. Better equipment on board that plane. Same missiles. He also has flares. Does he use them? Could be, maybe, I don't know. No, he doesn't. Had he been using flares, he would have avoided my strike. And I would have gone in as a gunfighter. The repair cost on this plane at the time that this flight was done was $21,000 plus. It's now down to $19,000 plus. Yeah, that doesn't make a whole lot of sense. The plane is substandard compared to the F-100D, which is one step above it. But it has a repair cost nearly 3 times as much. Does that mean it stays in battle 3 times longer? No, not really. Does it mean that it's 3 times better than the plane that comes after it, the F-100D? No, not at all. Now granted, this is the French plane. And it's an F-86K. This plane was obsolete about 1958, 1959. It was overshadowed by planes that came after it. And those repair costs are less than this plane. Now you might be going, but it's in the French line, man. Yeah, your point. The German one is expensive and the Italian one is expensive. And unfortunately, they're not even the same as in repair cost. The German one is less and so is the Italian one. Why? Why are they less? Oh, they're in different lines. No, that's not an excuse. It's the same plane. Repair costs should be the same because all things given, it is the same plane. If I were to fly the German one, which is the exact same as this, or the Italian one, which is the exact same as this, I would have gotten the same 3 kills. It has nothing to do with what Gaijin was mouthing. It was a disingenuous argument that made absolutely no sense. Now, the European Canadian was like, oh yeah, well this is exactly what it's supposed to be, blah, 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 blah. I'm sorry, the European Canadian. I watch your videos, I see a lot of them, and they're pretty good. But in this case, you're backing the wrong horse. That was a disingenuous argument from the beginning, and it's still a disingenuous argument. It made no sense. Now, let me show you why it made no sense. Here's a plane that came out when the F-86K was, for all intents and purposes, a frontline fighter. This is the F-3H-2 Demon, a plane that is considerably better. It's got a real radar, it carries 4 missiles, and if this was the F-3H-2M, it would carry Sparrow missiles. It has a slightly higher battle rating, and yet it's cheaper to repair. This is the F-11F1 Tiger, a considerably faster aircraft with the same basic armament of 420mm cannons and 4 air-to-air missiles, and a repair cost that is still below what the F-86K is. Far better plane as far as I'm concerned. And this is a head and shoulders better aircraft. The F-8U-2 Crusader, otherwise known as the F-8C. Considerably faster, climbs faster, better agility, even though the current plane breaks like a twig, better missiles, just an all-around better aircraft. And it's got a real radar. And eventually, if we get the F-8E, the F-8E will have the ability to carry either in the French version, the Matra missiles, which will have an extremely high maneuverability, or the AIM-9C, which is a radar-guided SARA missile, semi-active radar homing. And this plane is way cheaper. Now, Gaijin, I understand you want players to play new planes, but you're not making any sense. The F-86K is roughly equivalent to the F-86 F2. The big difference is it has an afterburner. And it's got a radar in the nose, which really isn't that effective. It's a gun sight radar that doesn't do anything for you. Other than that, there really isn't that much of a difference. Matter of fact, this plane has a better weapons load when it comes right down to it, because it can carry two 1,000-pound bombs, I believe. Hang on. Secondary weapons. Yeah, two 1,000-pound bombs or 8 HVAR missiles, rockets. The F2 doesn't carry any sidewinders. But AIM-9Bs are basically weapons. Sometimes they're good, sometimes they're bad. Most of the time they are horrible. Yeah, take that to the bank. Most of the time they're horrible. But you have a plane that can see the F-100D in combat. AIM-9Es, 4 of them. More ammo for the guns. 20 millimeters, same M39s, I believe, and 800 rounds. So the F-100D is a head and shoulders better aircraft than the F-86K. It's a head and shoulders better aircraft than the F-86 F2. But instead, we have a plane that has a 23,000, basically a 24,000 Lion repair cost. It actually went up. Which proves that I got lucky on 2 flights and killed 3 planes with 1 death, and this is what it gives me. More cost. Because I'm not going to keep that kill rate up. I know that. And there's no sense in flying this plane when it costs so much to repair it. And that's what Gaijin would like to have you do. They would like you to play these planes. But they made them so expensive, irrationally, that it doesn't make sense to fly it. Here's the F-86K. It is the first plane in rank 6 alongside of the Super Mystere, which is cheaper to fly, and it has the same missiles. Not only that, it's faster. And the Étendard, which is got the same number of missiles, 2 sidewinders, Bs, AIM-9Bs, and it's just a touch slower. 11 kilometers an hour. but it climbs better. And it may not turn better, but it will definitely outmaneuver an F-86K other than in roll rate. The F-86K is a good plane. I proved that. 2 flights, 3 kills, 1 death, not due to enemy action. And I haven't even talked about the bombers. Gaijin wants you to focus on the bombers. They don't want to look at the fighters, because looking at the fighters, you'd start to see the fallacies in their arguments. Mystere 2B, 9.0. Etendard, 9.0. Jaguar A, 10.0. This plane, with much better missiles and a lower repair cost, will see the F-86K and fight it. Mirage 3C, with a still much considerably lower repair cost. Won't see it, but still, we're looking at a repair cost that is less than half. Mirage 3E, again, a repair cost way less than half, less than a third. The F-100D, again, about a third of the repair cost. This is what Gaijin is ignoring. And they are ignoring it. They're saying, well, you're flying a B-29, and your B-29 is going to be at altitude, and he's going to keep climbing up into space, and he'll be out of the reach of everybody, and he'll survive by being up there. There comes a certain point when you got to start throwing the bullshit flag. And right now, they threw out a 20-yard bullshit flag. Those of you that aren't aware of what American football is, when you get a penalty, it costs you anywhere between 5 yards and 20 yards. And it can cost you half the distance to the goal line. And let's say if that half the distance to the goal line is, well, that it's football, American football. I guess in soccer that would be a red card. In hockey that would be a timeout penalty. Yeah. This is what Gaijin is trying to make you not understand. They're focusing on a bomber, well, not focusing on the other ignorant bomber, the Tu-4, with a 34,300 repair cost, which is actually down because it can see planes that carry missiles and don't have to get into the gun range. I've taken down a number of Tu-4s using missiles. And they get real salty about it. But the Tu-4 is another case of it can fly into space and just hide up there, never getting shot down for a number of missions, and bull. Bull. Gaijin is playing word games with you. It's a typical trick, especially one played by people who think that they're smarter than everybody else. They're ignoring facts that they are not doing gameplay themselves on a daily basis with their customer base. It's sort of like when some people who work in the computer maintenance system buy all their parts for wholesale, whatever their boss can buy them for, and they go home and they've got a computer set up that is top of the line. You're talking about somebody who might have a Intel based system of a 10700K with 32 gigs of RAM, solid state drive, GTX 1080 on up, even up through a RTX 380 or 3090, and they're going, well, and they're playing the game at potato level. Yeah, you tankers, they do that. I've seen that. I know people that do that. And because of them, I won't play with them anymore. Um, there's a lot to be said about the game, all the good points. There's a lot to be said about the bad points. But when you come out as a Gaijin developer, a head developer, and blatantly lie to us, why should we trust anything you're saying? And yeah, Canadian, I didn't trust the words that he wrote, and I don't trust your backing them up because they made no sense. They were disingenuous in the maximum. This is Subdude signing out. Y'all have a pleasant today, a better tomorrow. We'll catch you in the sky in air realistic on the good maps. Take care, folks.